Starting off with Section 1, Masters of the Melt, we're going to look at the exact science of heat. You know that flawless, glossy pull on a grilled cheese? The secret weapon of processed American cheese all comes down to emulsifying salts. These compounds act like a microscopic net. They create this beautifully even, continuous melt that flows over any surface without the fat clumping or separating. It starts melting within seconds on a hot burger, designed specifically to amplify the ingredients around it rather than fighting them for the spotlight. Now, let's flip over to Gruyère. This one relies on a totally different scientific principle, a highly specific fat-to-protein ratio. This perfect balance produces a clean, stable melt that covers your bread evenly. You don't get those sad pools of grease, and the proteins don't clump up into rubbery masses. Instead, you get this deeply savory, nutty flavor that's rich enough to make a sandwich feel substantial without completely overpowering everything else. To really see this architectural dominance in action, look no further than the classic French croque-monsieur. The construction is incredibly deliberate, right? You place the ham, layer that beautifully melting Gruyère inside and on top, and finish it under a broiler with bechamel. Thanks to that perfect fat-to-protein ratio, the Gruyère fuses the whole thing together into an absolute masterpiece of heat and daring. Moving right along to Section 2, Firm Foundations and Aging. This is all about structural integrity. Cheddar is basically the absolute workhorse of the sandwich world. Its firm texture slices cleanly without crumbling all over the place. But here is a crucial mechanical difference you've got to keep in mind about aging. Young cheddar melts reasonably well. But if you apply direct heat to aged cheddar, the fat completely separates. If you want a hot sandwich with aged cheddar, you actually have to use a steam lid technique or a covered pan just to trap the ambient heat. Served cold, though, that sharp bite perfectly cuts through strong mustard and pickles. Then we have Provolone, which rightfully sits near the absolute top of the Italian-American deli hierarchy. Think about biting into a carefully layered Italian sub, that smooth, slightly elastic texture you get. That's the Provolone doing its job. It yields with a very satisfying resistance before finally giving way, giving you perfect structural support for stacked cured meats like salami and capicola. And just like cheddar, age transforms Provolone dramatically. Provolone Dolce, which is the young version, is mild, buttery, and acts like a creamy complement that supports complex meats without competing. But give it time to age into Provolone Picante, and wow, it develops this sharp, commanding bite. It suddenly demands to be the star, which makes it best used in smaller, strategic quantities. Okay, Section 3, Soft and Fresh Challenges. How do we manage moisture? So Brie provides this luxurious richness that hard cheeses just can't replicate. But how do you keep a soft cheese from turning your sandwich into a total slip and slide? Well, it comes down to brilliant, natural packaging. That mushroomy, edible rind miraculously maintains the boundaries, keeping the warm, creamy interior trapped until the exact moment you take a bite. It spreads perfectly under pressure without just running out the sides. Now, because Brie is so incredibly rich, the science of pairing demands contrast. You need ingredients that cut through the fat. Think thin ham with honey mustard, crisp apples, or a sharp balsamic reduction. Conversely, look at fresh mozzarella. It occupies a totally unique, neutral position. Its mild, milky quality acts as a blank canvas, making it the perfect backdrop for the classic caprese trio of tomato, basil, and olive oil to really shine without interference. But fresh mozzarella comes with a major architectural hazard, moisture. Because it continuously releases water as it sits, it will aggressively soften your bread and completely ruin your sandwich's structural integrity. The solutions here are purely practical. You either pat the slices completely dry with paper towels beforehand, or you just engineer your timeline so you add the cheese literal seconds before eating. Which brings us to our final act, Section 4, Dynamic Balancers and Boosters, looking at texture and heat. Danish Havarti occupies a highly specific, utility-driven role. It's butter-forward with a slightly tangy finish, but its real superpower is structural. Havarti is remarkably pliable. Its smooth texture allows it to be folded seamlessly into ribbons without breaking. This makes it an absolute dream to build with, especially the dill-flavored varieties, which are just perfect tucked alongside cured salmon. And then there is Pepper Jack. This is a cheese designed to push back. You take a highly meltable pasteurized base, Monterey Jack, and mix jalapeno, habanero, or other chilies directly into the paste. The result? A cheese that delivers vivid, building heat right alongside rich dairy.
Because the base is Monterey Jack, it gives you a flowing melt that beautifully coats everything beneath it.
But here is the truly fascinating chemical reaction happening inside your sandwich. When heated, the chili compounds in pepper jack actually interact with the dairy fat to release volatile aromatic compounds. This phenomenon fundamentally wakes up every single layer in your sandwich. It makes the surrounding ingredients taste noticeably more vivid and alive than if you just used a mild cheese.
So, as you can see, a sandwich isn't just a quick meal, it's a careful balance of melting mechanics, structural integrity, moisture management, and chemical reactions. Now that you understand the profound culinary weight of American, Cheddar, Gruyère, Brie, Mozzarella, Provolone, Havarti, and pepper jack, how will you change the architecture of your next 2 p.m. lunch? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy building!